for women to access birth control at the pharmacy, other states, including our neighbors across the river in Missouri, asked the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. These attacks on women's rights to make decisions about their own reproductive health should embolden us here in Illinois to do even more to support those rights. And that includes fighting period poverty. Thanks to bill sponsors, Senator Chris Belt and Senator Karina Villa, who could not join us today, Leader LaToya Greenwood, and Representatives Katie Stewart and Barbara Hernandez, who will speak in a moment, Illinois is once again prioritizing women's health. I also want to thank the advocates and the activists whose work has truly made this all come to fruition. Director of the Cougar Cupboard here at SIUE's campus, Sherry Hare with Edwardsville, Ashley Novoa of the Chicago Period Project, and so many others who couldn't be here today to join us. Person to person is how this work gets done, and person by person, your work has changed the lives of many women and girls across Illinois. The pandemic has laid bare many of the quiet sacrifices that women are disproportionately forced to make in the face of financial instability. Keep a job or stay home to care for children. Pay the rent or buy groceries. Pay a medical bill or keep the lights on. Given the high price of menstrual products such as pads and tampons, it's no wonder that many women below the poverty line have had to sacrifice their personal health and hygiene in order to afford food or other basic necessities, turning to socks and toilet paper to manage their menstrual cycle. It's a tragic situation that significantly increases their risk of infection and limits their ability to live their fullest lives. Thanks to the 3 bills that I get to sign today, we're reducing the burden of period poverty and making those very difficult personal choices a little bit rarer in Illinois. This is a meaningful advancement in women's health, and that's something that we should all celebrate. Starting at the end of the year, the Feminine Hygiene Products for the Homeless Act will ensure that period products like pads, tampons, and liners will be available free of charge at all shelters for youth and women. We're also expanding access to these necessities, which fit right alongside hand soap and toilet paper as critical hygiene care, can make or break how a student is able to go about her day. That's not something we should let stand in the way of a young person's education, and effectively, immediately, we won't. Finally, we're working to tackle a major hurdle to purchasing hygiene products for low-income women across the state. Right now, Illinoisans who receive SNAP or WIC benefits can use their funds to buy essential nutrition, but not hygiene essentials like tampons, pads, or diapers for their kids. That doesn't make any sense to me, nor to a bipartisan coalition of leaders in the General Assembly, so we're formally asking the federal government to take this step forward and help countless women afford the products that they need. Once again, Illinois is demonstrating what it means to stand up for women's health by protecting the dignity of our state's most vulnerable people. And with that, I want to turn the podium over to one of our strongest leaders in this fight and someone who has truly been a fighter for women all across the state of Illinois, not to mention for the people of her district, and that's Representative Barbara Hernandez. Representative?
Good morning. Thank you, Governor. I'm happy to join everyone today, taking a huge step forward for menstruators' rights in Illinois. I want to briefly emphasize the word rights. In some parts of our country, rights to good, affordable menstruation health care are treated like a secondary item or less important because menstruators don't apply to everybody. I'm proud to be here today while we prove that Illinois totally rejects that idea and is moving forward. As a legislator, as any legislator will tell you, I can't do this work alone. I do need another senator to help finish the job. And I want to thank Senator Karina Villa, who was not able to make it today, for her tireless work on making sure this bill gets through the finish line. I also want to thank everyone from the Chicago Period Project, She Votes Illinois, as well as Meghna Gautam, the president of the Northwestern Menstrual Equality Activists. They are making great progress tackling this issue of the problem of period poverty, and I hope this is not the last time we work together. There's still a lot more that we can do. Finally, thank you, Governor Pritzker, for once again proving you're a dedicated ally in the fight against inequality in Illinois. Across the country, due to the lack of income, today in Illinois, we're taking the steps to help low-income menstruators in our state overcome that burden. Fighting against problems like period poverty is a privilege, and I'm so happy to be here and to be able to move forward with this bill. And I hope, once again, the federal government can also take action in making sure that SNAP and WIC can include these products, including diapers. So thank you so much. And at this moment, I would like to introduce Senator Belt, if he's here. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. There's no excuse for depriving any individual the right to basic hygiene. Not providing such an essential need found within feminine hygiene products to some of our most vulnerable citizens is shameful and will no longer happen in Illinois. Today, with the signing of House Bill 310, we have shown women in homeless shelters their needs matter. The statistics show that on average, more than $2 billion will be spent on feminine hygiene products each year in the United States. Purchasing these products can become a significant financial burden, especially for women and children who make up 60% of the female homeless population in the United States. In 2016, Illinois took a giant step forward when we successfully repealed the sales tax on feminine hygiene products. I cannot personally imagine the indignity of having to use some other item as a makeshift sanitary product. But I believe people who have already been deprived of so much, there was a need for change. I am so proud to have carried this measure in the Senate because it is essential we ensure all people at homeless shelters who need these products will have them at their very disposal. I want to thank my colleague and my friend, Leader LaToya Greenwood, who initiated this measure. This would not have been a successful endeavor with this issue head on. And finally, as Representative Hernandez stated, I want to thank the governor for championing and being an advocate for those on the fringe, those marginalized people. It's about humanity. It's about all of us. It's about inclusiveness. And Governor, I thank you for that. And with that being said, I will bring on Representative Katie Stewart. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Belt. And I'm going to echo thank you, Governor Pritzker, for all the important issues that you stand with us on. And I appreciate you taking the time to come here to the beautiful campus of SIUE. It is always a pleasure when I get to share this campus and highlight the wonderful area that we have. I'm so happy to see House Bill 641 finally come to fruition. This is the bill that will put feminine or menstrual hygiene products in all of the restrooms on campus at all of our institutions of higher education free of charge. I really need to, I've been working on this for a number of years, And I really want to thank the higher education community as a whole, the community colleges and our four-year institutions for their support this past year and for finally really understanding the scope of what this legislation will do. Yes, it puts pads and tampons in restrooms, but it really does so much more. This legislation is important because it really recognizes a simple fact of biology. About half our population experiences menstruation throughout a significant portion of their lifetimes. It's a normal function of our biology and should be treated and seen as such and respected. The idea that those of us who experience it should hide it or feel shame about it or protect those of you who don't have the pleasure of experiencing it from having to even think about it, that way of thinking is very outdated and very dangerous. We all agree collectively that soap, toilet paper, napkins, tissues, seat covers, and all those other things are provided for us in public spaces. In fact, we probably don't really ever think about it until we're in a situation where we really need something like that and it's just not there. This legislation puts menstrual hygiene products in that same category, which is exactly where they belong. Thank you again, Governor Pritzker, for supporting this important legislation, and it is my honor to introduce my friend and colleague, Representative LaToya Greenwood.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, for always being on the right side of issues that are important to not just some of Illinois, but all of Illinois. We appreciate you. House Bill 310 and the other pieces of legislation signed today by Governor Pritzker are about human dignity. Meeting the hygiene needs of women and girls is a fundamental issue of human rights, dignity, and public health. House Bill 310 is about providing a substantial solution to an increasingly prevalent problem by establishing access to fundamental supports for vulnerable individuals desperately in need. I want to again thank the governor and thank the many advocates who work with me in pushing this legislation to a reality. I continue and will remain committed to being a voice for the voiceless, and that includes at-risk women and girls around our state. Thank you, and I would like to bring up Carolyn Compton.
To be here today and to share this space with everyone that does this work. I think that it's important to know that in the space of being here for students and running a food pantry that serves students on this campus, knowing that we are able to provide sanitary and hygiene products for those students is very important. I'm thankful for Rep. Stewart. She's a great supporter of what we do. Dr. Alexander, who Governor mentioned earlier, is really also one of our great supporters and advocates in that space. Again, this is not a luxury. This is a health product. We put those items front and center, and so when you walk into our food pantry, it's going to be the first thing you see. We make sure that folks know that it's there for them. It's free. They're able to take as much as they need, as often as they want. And I just want folks to know that when people do come into our space, that it's so appreciated. They make sure that they know that we know that, and we make sure that they know that it will be there and continue to be there, whether this exists or not for them. That the community will work to make sure that that happens, but these types of things make this so much better for everyone past that space. It's important, and we're thankful for it. It is truly my honor to ask the governor to now come up and sign the bill for us. Thank you.
Maybe, I don't know if when I'm finished signing, the bill sponsors will join me up here and you all can take a picture with the bill as well. Picture of all of you holding the bills you all shepherded through the General Assembly. Thank you. And before I take questions, I just want to recognize a senator that I didn't get a chance to recognize, Senator Crow, who has been really a champion in Springfield and somebody who is a leader that for those of us who, when we want to try to get something through the legislature, there are a few people that you make sure you check in with and talk to because they have a perspective that you know is going to be smart and is going to help you think about what the best avenue is to go forward with. And so I just want to recognize the great leadership of Senator Rochelle Crow. With that, happy to take any questions from members of the media. Yes, sir.
Not to minimize the importance of these bills, but if I may ask you just briefly on another topic.
Sure.
The mask requirement that you signed in, or you announced yesterday. Could you give me your thought pattern on that? Because you have different trains of thoughts working in the country. You have governors who are going the opposite direction, saying we don't want any mandates. We have governors, like in the state of Missouri, who don't want the mandates. You went a different direction. Could you give me your mindset about trying to put those in place and why you feel like it's important to do so?
First and foremost, I am focused on keeping our children healthy and safe, keeping the school environment healthy and safe and open so that children can go to school all year, and their families. Remember, children going to school who, you know, if they're not wearing masks or if they're not vaccinated, can carry COVID-19 home with them to potentially vulnerable family members multi-generationally. And so our goal here, and remember, this is in a moment when the Delta variant is rising fast. We have cases rising fast. You saw that we were able to, most of us, go without masks inside in the early part of the summer. Well, we didn't know that the Delta variant would begin to overtake so many people. And so it's a mandate that is, I think, required for us to keep our way of life moving forward. And it's a reasonable thing to ask people to do. We're not, these are not capacity limitations. These are not, endeavors to, slow down people's lives, to have them stay at home or anything like that. It's just asking people to do what I think people learned that they could do over the last year and a half, and that's to wear a mask in environments where they might be spreading or have the susceptibility to catching COVID-19. But I do want to remind everybody that the best way to keep yourself protected is to get vaccinated. And so anybody who's not vaccinated, who is eligible to get vaccinated, I really want to encourage you to do it because, unfortunately, this variant is transmitting much faster than any previous variant or the original Alpha variant. And so everything that we're doing here is really just designed to slow the spread, to bend the curve, and get us back to a more normal life.
Let me follow up. How concerned are you about the Delta variant going forward here? Clearly, it's become the dominant strain and the primary concern across the country. Your thoughts on the danger that presents?
Well, I don't think you have to go very far. Turn on the TV and look what's happening in Florida and in Texas and a couple other states, even Missouri. And you can see that if you don't take action, if you're not acting swiftly to keep people protected in ways that you know are effective, then you're going to fill up the hospital beds. And ultimately, just for people who haven't paid attention to this, the reason that we want to make sure our hospital systems have available beds is not just in case you get COVID. It's in case you get into a car accident or you have a heart attack or you have some other illness that overtakes you. You need a hospital bed available to you. And so we're always concerned to make sure that our healthcare systems are available to the public.
On this issue, can I just ask you on the bills you're signing today?
Yes.
These feminine hygiene product concerns have seemed to in the past not been as primary as perhaps they should have been, from college campuses to homeless shelters. The importance of this, what does this do in your mind to try and change that?
Well, in a moment, I'm going to ask Representative to come up and talk about this, but I'll just say, look, I think I said it in my remarks, but I'm going to repeat it, that this is about dignity, this is about poverty and addressing the challenges of poverty and the lack of those hygiene products for people who need them. And as the representative said when she was here, you shouldn't have to make choices about this. This is, hygiene products ought to be available to you, and especially to people who have traditionally not had the resources available to them to use for this. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to just, because I know you have a real passion for this, and I want to make sure that comes through.
Thank you. I love the opportunity to talk about periods because they happen. They've happened for forever since humans have been on Earth, is my understanding, and other mammals and other animals too. And because of that, it's unfortunate that for a millennium or two, it's something that has supposed to be hidden and kept out of notice, and you tuck it away in your home bathroom, and that's just it's biology, it's nature, it happens, and it's just time to actually let's just deal with it. Let's make it normalized, and let's all not be afraid to talk about the fact that half of us get periods. We're decades behind where we should have been, and that's why I'm so happy to see all of this get done here today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.